Hi, he's making us look bad.
I don't
know, I had like a class this joint up.
My backpack on earlier, it was giving like real want to sell a Bible vibe.
I'm in the book of Mormon.
Okay, roll call, I guess.
Chair Gary Delvo.
Here.
Vice Chair Matt Schuler.
Here.
Debbie Dean.
Here.
Alder Hinkfist.
Here.
Melanie Parma.
Here.
Here. And Steve Rubis.
Yep.
Oh, excellent. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Matt,
Second.
Steve, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Minutes from May 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Debbie. Matt and Debbie, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Regular business, number 1, consideration of possible action on communication by Alder Johnson dated May 29, 2024, to work with Bay Lake Bank Center Bluffs and Spring Lake Church, and to present to Common Council within 60 days a plan to mitigate concerns regarding facade improvements and handicap parking, utilizing the city's facade grant program funded by ARPA and/or block grant or any other sources deemed appropriate for such use.
So we actually met with the condo association yesterday and looked at some proposals they had to create some parking and some changes to the facade to help with some entrance work and whatnot. Next phase is their architects actually meeting with our planner, our principal planner, to talk about how that parking could be configured in front, and then we'll get some numbers, and then we'll come back with a plan of action. So this would probably be as we refer to staff, if we're working on it.
You're still cutting them.
Well, yep, we've got to figure out what needs to happen, and then we'll look at the estimates, and then we'll look at that. See what the costs are.
Second by questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Chair?
Yes, please. Alder Johnson?
Yeah. See, and I'm good with the motion, you guys already passed it, it's exactly what I wanted, but I just wanted to kind of tack on to that, just so that everyone's aware. The reason I submitted the communication on it, we know staff was gonna do this and they were gonna work on it. For me, it was important to publicly demonstrate to our partners over there, that we were listening to their concerns and that we are hearing it, we're gonna work on it. But by referring this to staff and coming back in 60 days, it creates a mechanism by which council will be apprised of progress. So happy with the referral, that's all I was looking for, and wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you for all your efforts. Appreciate it very much.
And just one quick question, not a technical, is there a dollar limit or anything on our facade grant program?
I think there is generally.
Yeah, I wish we had a limited bucket of dollars, but yeah, we're limited to the amount that we have.
And is it a lump sum that's in the program, or is it per project? There's a dollar limit.
There isn't a max necessarily per project. Each application is scored by staff, and we look at the whole project, what the need is, what the funding gap is, and what staff feels is reasonable to contribute based on the impact of the proposal.
Okay.
And one other thing, we're also looking at possibly using ARPA funds for this. So in addition to the facade grant, there's additional dollars out there based on staff recommendations, and we'll come back.
The facade grant program is currently funded by ARPA, but there are other programs, potentially our innovative stormwater grant, which might apply to the parking area. That is also funded by ARPA. We'll look at all the funding sources that are available and see what fits.
A dollar to anyone not on city staff who can tell me what ARPA stands for?
American.
Put it in the meeting notes. You owe somebody a buck.
I think she got pretty close.
American Rescue, right?
American
Right.
Presidential Rescue.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Number 2, consideration of possible action to call due the preferred forgivable equity investment of $300,000 given by the RDA to City Deck Commons Residence LLC as developer pursuant to the City Deck Commons Development Agreement. Let's go back a few years.
This goes back a few years, and just briefly, I've got the report written here. And I think, are you here? Cool, okay. I think he was going to say he was going to be here. So we had a development agreement for the City Deck Commons residences back in 2013. Part of that development agreement stated that if the property was going to transfer in any way, it needed to come to the RDA for those approvals. At that point, the TIF recipient could choose to pay off the remaining TIF balance. They shouldn't be signing anything as a result, right, because they're under this DA. So what happened was, and on top of that, there was also a guarantee, a preferred forgivable equity investment guarantee that was given by the developer, $300,000. Now, that guarantee would go away if the project would reach a value of $10 million, or they would own it for 10 years. Neither one of those things happened in the way that we see that, right, from our assessment records. So Director Steck-Schulte at the time began following up on this and had correspondence back and forth via emails. When he left, then I sent out another request, like, where are we at with this? We actually had a meeting and talked about this. I believe it's the belief of the developer that the property exceeds the $10 million value, based on the sale price. And we said, well, that very well may be true, but we need more information to provide to our assessor to make that determination, because one property sale does not determine right comps for properties going out there. And then we just really haven't had a response back after that. I think email went out in March from Joanne. We just haven't had any correspondence or response back on that. So bringing it, I think, to the RDA to discuss steps moving forward and how we want to handle this. And Attorney Coffey is here today if you want to open up the floor if he has any comments.
I think we should.
Move to open. Follow.
Second by.
I'll second.
Matt. All those in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Please,
Thank you.
give us your perspective.
Well, first of all, I appreciate City Attorney providing me with some information yesterday about the hearing today. Unfortunately, my client is not here. He's not in the state he would like to be here. So I guess the first thing I spoke to the City Attorney about was a request to move this issue until the next meeting so that my client can be present. So that would be my first request that hopefully the Development Authority would take up at this point, which would obviate the need for me to go through some of the arguments that we have.
Okay. Any other background information you want to give us?
If you choose to consider it today, I certainly have a number of positions that I would like to convey. And I mean, I could either do that now, or I could wait to see how you folks want to proceed.
Okay. Thoughts? Anybody got some thoughts?
Is there any reason we can't hold it a week or hold it till the next meeting? So that we've got the,
I don't think so. I mean, bring it up in July if that's what you'd like to do. We just really want this to move forward in
Yes,
some
keep it moving.
capacity
Yeah,
and keep it moving, so.
Is your client aware of the next meeting date and able to commit to attending that one?
We are assuming that it is July 9th, and I've been told that he would be available. Is that
Second
correct?
Tuesday, I know.
Is it the second Tuesday?
July.
Okay, yeah. I was told,
And then-
yeah, I was told yesterday that he would be able to make that. That's what I was told yesterday when we made that assumption.
And the other, and I'm certainly willing to do it as well, and you've made the trip to be here, and if there's something you want to make sure you get to say to us today, I want to make sure you have that opportunity before we just move it a month and we don't panic.
At this point, I mean, I have a number of legal arguments. We did have a phone conference with the city attorney and some staff members. I think it was in March, mid to late March or something like that. There was some follow-up documentation that was provided. Quite honestly, I didn't have an opportunity to review it in detail with my client. I have now, or do have some arguments that I would be able to present, but it would make more sense, I think, to do that at the next hearing when my client is here, and then we can discuss it. And it's
Motion to go back to regular business.
Yeah. So
Steve and Matt, all those in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Well, and I would not be opposed either if you wanted to just meet with us
Yeah.
before the next RDA meeting, see if we
That'd be
could
great.
That was
figure out
going
as
to
well,
be-
but that's up.
that was going to be my suggestion. Essentially, if we can have a discussion and kind of basically review what your and your client's position is with respect to the position that we took, and we can potentially have a resolution for RDA versus going through those arguments at the first,
Sure.
at first glance.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. And is it,
Okay.
is it July 9 or 1:30?
Yes, correct.
Thank you, Joanne.
Yes.
Excellent, Cheryl, excellent comments. Entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that we move this issue to the next meeting and allow for staff to meet with the developer's representation in the meantime to forward the issue.
Motion by Matt,
Second?
second by Alder Hinkles. Thank you. Any questions or comments in regards to the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. All right, number 3. Consideration of possible action to approve a one-year development agreement to Investment Creations, LLC, for the rehabilitation of the site located at 158 North Maple Avenue. We haven't talked about North Maple Avenue. It's been a while.
Well, I'm excited to talk about it this time.
Good.
Okay, we had actually purchased, RDA purchased that property back in 2018 using the neighborhood enhancement funds. It is zoned office residential, and we have had other proposals come forward, but due to the pricing of construction, those costs just didn't come together for those developers. So at this point, up to this point of this developer, we were preparing for the property to be demoed. And we did receive a proposal from Investment Creations LLC to rehab the building. They are looking to do a 4 to 5 bedroom, 3.5 bath home with an attached garage. This would be a single-family dwelling. Their first intention is to use this as a rental. They're asking to purchase the property at $1. They also have a ready and immediate timeline for which I was very active at wanting, just because we were at the point that we were going to demo. Why would we not want to do that versus moving forward with a developer? So he wants to close by the end of this month. Within 30 to 45 days, they want to be working on the exterior renovations. Within 30 to 60 days, they would be working on the interior renovations with the hope to have a complete estimation, completion within the next 6 months. The total construction cost at this point is approximately $300,000. They're not requesting any additional funding at this time. Investment Creations, it sounds familiar to me, they also have the planning option for the Shower and Schumacher building. So they have extensive experience with the historical part of these homes, rehabbing them, rehabbing the Shower and Schumacher buildings, and we certainly feel that they can add the life and vitality to the neighborhood with this project too. Therefore, our recommendation is to provide them with the one-year development agreement to rehab the property.
The developers are here as well.
Yep.
If you'd like to. We made it very clear and full disclosure to them. We shared everything we knew about the building and the cost for remodel.
Yep.
They continue to be excited about it, which is exciting to me, right? It was sad for us to have to tear this down. But we also expressed to them the need to move forward on this for timing, because we've got some inspection issues with the building, so we need to get the exterior done first and start moving on it right away, and they were fine with that as well.
Good. It's been empty for how long?
2018.
When?
2018.
Okay. Well,
That's the one we visited, right?
Yes, probably.
Yes, you did. You did, because UWGB was going to go in there, was working on something. So you did tour it. Yes, you did.
I remember.
Yeah, it's actually, and it's a beautiful building.
Did I read something about abatement costs still on us?
Yes, there's some asbestos in the basement, around some heating ducts that we're gonna have removed. I wanna have, I wanna have that removed, because God forbid if something were to go bad with this deal, right, I can tear it down right away then.
Okay.
So that's kind of my thought
Either way,
process
yeah.
with that, remove that.
I mean, we're about to cash a check to raise this thing, and now somebody's trying to give you $1 for it. That seems like a good idea to me.
I was hoping you
That was
yes.
most,
Well, I have to tell you, that like, this developer has a lot of experience. I mean, I don't know if I would have approved this or recommended approving this moving forward if there wasn't somebody who had been doing this type of work already in the valley for historic preservation, so.
I don't see any reason to open up the meeting, but if you want to, we can.
Probably the biggest question that I have open is the potential that something kind of starts and then stalls. And we've sold the property for $1, and now we've lost its control, and then it sits there stalled. And I'm wondering what we might be able to do to mitigate that risk.
So there's clawback provisions in that agreement.
There is, if they don't complete it in 1 year,
Okay.
the RDA gets the property back. There is that in the development agreement. But again, I mean, that's 1 year.
Yep.
Why don't we add dates on like exterior completion by a specific date? Like for us, buttoning up the outside of that is the most important to me.
Yeah.
Right? So, if they would be willing to look at a time frame, like the exterior will be completed within the first 6 months, right? Anything else,
Right.
continue to work on the inside up to a year.
You made the trip when all.
We might.
Yes, I would
Okay.
agree. I think we should open up the
Let's
floor.
start. Steve?
There's a motion, I'll second it.
A motion by Steve, second by Matt. All those in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting open, please.
This is
Thank you.
Umar. And feel
Umar
free.
Sheikh,
Yeah, please.
and that's my son, Zachary.
Okay.
What questions do you have?
Talk about the stuff you've done in the valley, some of the projects you've
Oh,
done.
Fox Valley, I've done numerous homes. I only love and deal with working with old historic buildings and bringing them back to life.
Beautiful.
So I've got a bunch of downtown properties, old historic homes, and that's what I do. New construction is just not my thing.
Too
It
boring,
just-
huh?
That's actually the technical term. But, so we've done rehabs from, burnt down homes to completely bringing them back up, renovating, taking back the 80s, 90s, the 60s off of buildings and bringing them back to their original life. So doing something along this lines, it's second nature. I mean, this is what I do, so. Our plan there is, we saw there's so much beautiful woodwork and potential in that building, in this home, that it'd be a shame to tear it down. And,
Great attitude.
yeah, so there's a lot of opportunity, and we totally, completely understand the need to get the outside buttoned up, and that's why our plan is to actually get in and make sure that the outside is as presentable as possible,
Good.
and get that done as soon as possible, so that you guys are in the clear and actually see something happening. Because once that change starts happening and people can see it, a lot of the times, neighbors and everyone, they start to calm down that, okay, something's happening.
Sure.
You'd be okay with us putting some provisions in the development? agreement
Absolutely.
that-
Yeah, what you guys were talking about, no
No
problems.
problem.
whatsoever.
Questions for the developer? No.
Thank you.
Excellent. Let's go back to regular business. So, Debbie and Matt, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we're back to regular business. Entertained a motion.
Motion to approve.
Alder Hinkes. And second by Debbie.
With the
Yes. Yeah, please.
contingencies that were laid out to button up the outside within a certain period of time, working with our department.
Okay. There's a motion. Did you second, Debbie? Yep. Motion and second. Any questions or comments regarding the motion?
It's just great to have this
Absolutely.
saved, because it was gorgeous inside.
Absolutely. We did
Yeah.
it too.
I
You're
mean,
absolutely right.
oh,
A lot of history.
yeah.
All those in favor of the motion, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
I'll also bring back to the RDA, I'm gonna, I've already told the developer that I would like to do pictures of the process that they do with there, because I knew you guys had been through there. So, you know what the before is, you can see what's going on, and then we can wrap up, and possibly we can set up like a tour for you guys once the project is complete.
Fantastic. All right, number 4, consideration of possible action to approve termination of development agreement with 200 North Monroe Copco LLC.
So this is our project at 200 North Monroe, that is officially need to terminate this, that's the document to do that. We are prepared to issue an RFP, and we're actually going to take a look, we're going to add some different type of housing provisions to that RFP as well, because we are thinking that this may be a townhouse, a townhome type of development on part of it, so we're going to add the scope of what kind of housing you can do on this as well, but we're going to do RFP out quickly on that, so.
I move to approve the termination of the development agreement with 200 North Monroe Propco LLC.
Motion by Debbie.
Second.
Second by Matt. Questions or comments regarding the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
That's okay.
Aye.
It's back.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Number 5, consideration of possible action to approve a 1-year development agreement with NeighborWorks Green Bay for the site located on the 400th block of 4th Street, parcel 2-176, 2-177, 2-178, 2-178A, for a 7-unit multi-family development.
So we have had this, we awarded planning option to NeighborWorks Green Bay back in December of 2022. At the beginning of that, they started there, this was going to be a 10-unit townhome style, but due to the rising construction costs and stuff, they did bring this back to, during the planning option process and moved that to 7 units. These will all be 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a 2-car garage. After the bidding and design process, they are asking now to go into a 1-year development agreement. Of the 7 units, 3 will be sold as market rate, 4 will be considered affordable. They are also offering to purchase the lot for $48,300. They would also are willing to manage the removal and the disposal of the, but it used to be the bike collective garage that's still on the site. That would still come back as the city's, as a direct cost to the RDA. And then they're also requesting that the lot directly to the east, which kind of goes between the parcels they want to build on, and tidy cleaners, that be the staging area during the duration of their construction. So we're excited about this project, excited to see where this goes. I think it's going to increase property values over there. It's going to increase more vitality in the area. So it's kind of been a long time coming, but we're here.
And this is the shipyard district,
It is.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any plans to move that bike collective somewhere else?
They've already moved.
Oh, they have?
They moved last year,
Oh,
yeah.
good. Somebody's taking your bikes.
In the area they talked about to the east, we don't control that property, do we?
We do.
Right on the corner?
On the map, no.
No, they're,
Oh,
Okay.
Like 414,
I can,
is that it?
what they're talking about right here is this lot right here.
Okay.
They would be taking building over here, this is the lot there, they would have like a staging area, which is between the tidy cleaners
Yep.
and the storage garage that's there.
Okay.
Sorry about that, ma'am.
Okay. So the development doesn't go on 414, it's
Correct,
418 and west?
Correct.
Okay.
yep.
I was,
Obviously, the developer's here, yeah, NeighborWorks, if you want to open the meeting, but it's up to you. You want to open the meeting?
Did we see this as the 10 unit?
It used to be 10 units, then they bought it back to 7 units. And yeah, we have presented this in the past. I think our last one was a 90-day planning option extension, and they're at, end of this month is the end of that planning option. So they are requesting the development agreement now.
To break ground.
Yep, they want to move forward.
We can, maybe I'll make a motion to open the floor.
I'll second it.
Second by Debbie, all in favor, say saying aye.
Aye.
Floor is open. NeighborWorks, please.
Sure.
there anything else I can answer for you? I could give you a description of what we've been doing for the last year and a half.
Question.
Sure.
So the affordable units
Mhm.
that will be sold, correct? What is the projected price at this point, do you think?
Currently, our pro forma is listing them at $259,900.
Okay. And how much down payment assistance will be available? What are you
What
gonna
we need.
What are you gonna need to fill
Yeah.
that gap?
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But we think by having the 3-bedroom, 2-bath units, we may get some families in there as well, and there's a higher income limit, for more persons in the household. But
I'm actually really wondering what the gap is right now if they're at 80%.
Yeah, and
how- homes are going to
80% buyers under the current, income limits can attain that purchase price. And so we'll just have to see what the individual circumstances are of those households that are going to be under 80% that come forward to buy those and structure a deal that works for them, that's sustainable.
Our next item is, they are requesting funds from Chodo type of home funds for assistance with construction as well.
And that's why I'm asking.
That's not for the home buyer.
No, it's for the
that's
construction,
just
yeah.
for- Yeah.
But you have, I would say you have tools for down payment assistance.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
works that could be utilized too.
Yep.
You don't have all funds for down payment assistance, do you?
There's some,
Is there some?
but the cupboards are getting bare.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can talk about that. Yeah. We got people here who know how to do that.
Might be further down on the agenda.
Okay, that's my
Any
only question.
questions for
That's
neighborhood?
fine.
Okay, thank you. Motion to get back to regular business?
Steve,
No, that's perfect.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm okay.
I'll go back to regular business.
Not second.
And second by Alder Lucas. All those in favor, same as saying aye.
Aye.
We're back to regular business. So, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Alder Lucas and Steve, questions or comments regarding the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much. It sounds very exciting, actually. Number 6, consideration of possible action on a community housing development organization, CHODA. Okay, CHODA, okay. Funding request for Neighbor Works to be made to build 4 affordable housing units on the site located on the 400 block of 4th Street, parcel 2-176, 2-177, 2-178, 2-178A, for a multi-family development. Okay, so.
Krista's actually out of the office this week, so I'm gonna bring forward this one for her. So as we were just discussing what this 4th Street construction is gonna be, they do have a gap in the amount of $232,000. And this is for the construction of the 4 affordable townhomes for the 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 2-car. This is in a neighborhood of predominantly single-family homes with some multifamily, so the housing stock this is going to bring a little bit more value and stuff to that neighborhood. Total development costs, they have at $2,236,975.18. They do have permanent funding at $1,829,975.18 with private funding at $175,000, which leaves the gap for $232,000. They are anticipating again to sell those homes at $259,900. So staff is recommending that they be awarded the $232,000 to subsidize the gap.
So we're required to set aside CHODO dollars to do this affordable housing.
And they are
Neighborhoods
the only
only
CHODO.
So this is good for us to spend this allocation of CHODO funds on this project. For those affordable units.
175,000.
Is this an
It's an
adoptable
adoptable.
project?
Is it an adoptable?
Okay. I don't know what the project is.
I don't know what the private is.
It's okay.
Why is this a separate agenda item?
Once this transfer of property, and I think once the funding allocation.
Right.
Two separate items, though, 2 separate subjects, really.
Mhm.
I didn't want to fund it.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the total funding request of $230,000 to Neighborhood Green Bay.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, a motion by Debbie and a second by Alder Hickes. Questions or comments?
I think the development of these stone homes and the fact that they're 3-bedroom, they're 2-bath, it's going to improve the area, but it also offers affordable housing to families. And
Which we definitely.
absolutely critical, which, you know, is talked about in every aspect of the community, as far as making sure that we bring in enough housing so that people here can afford it.
Yeah, wasn't this one of the first areas that I think you went into and then kind of started the whole program for all the renovation? That's that long ago.
Yes.
I remember going down there,
We're old.
roofs without, building the homes without roofs and things just falling down all over the place. We've really come a long way.
Yeah, we have come over, absolutely. Baby's been good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Number 7, consideration with possible action on a community housing development organization. I'm sorry. Consideration of possible action to approve and recommend to the Common Council the City of Green Bay's 2024 Annual Action Plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG, and Home Investment Partnership Program, Home Entitlement Programs. So your bottom line, you want us to approve your plan, which is the City Council, right?
You got it, it's that time of year again. We're presenting you with our budget for our annual allocation plan for our block grants and home programs. So included in your packet are the 2 budgets. Before we dig into how those buckets landed, I would just like to mention that although our allocation increased slightly for our community development block grant fund, we did see a significant cut in our home funds from HUD. So actually, last year we were awarded $576,345, and then for the 2024 program year, we're only receiving $468,554. So this is something that does change, and it's hard to really know or anticipate if it will or not until we get that notification. So I just wanted to highlight that. And then looking at our budgets, we made a few slight changes. So as you'll see in the budget, last year and the previous years, we've always funded fair housing services. We contract with Metropolitan Milwaukee for housing services, and we're going to continue to work with them. So we're allocating $30,000 for our fair housing services. Community Gardens has really been a staple of our community here. It is a program that is shown a direct benefits to households that are low to moderate income in helping provide food security. We haven't really changed that number much in the past, 5-6 years, and we felt that just with a lot of cost increases, even just labor alone, we felt that it would be worthwhile investment to bump that up from $17,000 annually to $25,000. And it's something I believe somewhere approximately 250 people annually it benefits directly serves. So it's a great program. And then this past which is last meeting, right? We awarded or asked for your permission to award our public service dollars to those organizations. We received over $700,000 in asks. We felt that just seeing that demand and then based off of our public hearings and inputs for developing this plan, there was a need from a nonprofit community for additional funding to support not only the continuation of the programs, but also looking at growth and expansion of programs. So we wanted to allocate the max amount we could, which ended up being $163,700 to do another open call for applications for funding this next year.
Okay.
But then moving down, we did not put as much money this year into our home improvement loan program, not because that there isn't a need. There is certainly a need for that program. There's always a waiting list. However, we realized just with the shortage of qualified licensed contractors and the ability to get these projects completed in a timely fashion. And then on top of that, NeighborWorks Green Bay, who administers our home improvement loan program, still has quite a bit of money from previous years that they're utilizing. We'd like to see that funding spent down first before allocating additional money. Just because that ends up putting us in a position near the end of the year where we have to spend this money in a timely manner, otherwise we get dinged by HUD. So obviously, if,
Our bad.
right.
So, no.
And then of course, and this goes. Right, and then of course this goes with any of our programming here. This is a proposed budget, but if partway through the funding year, we see that there's a program that's spending money faster, there's a need, we are able to make amendments to move some money around. But again, we just don't want to add more money into a line item where there's already money there that's going to fund the program.
Can I ask a question about that?
Absolutely.
Is that money allocated? So when you say that there's money at,
Not all that's allocated, no.
so
It's a
it's
pot,
all
it's
the
just,
savings
it's a pot of money that's sitting there. They have projects in the works, but there's still a reserve, so to say, that has not been allocated specifically to a project that's still there.
But is there a project that's coming that the allocation's gonna go to?
There's a huge wait list. The issue is that we don't have enough qualified contractors who are going to, who work with this program. So it's bottlenecking there. So the demand outweighs the ability to actually get these projects bid out, estimated, and completed.
Okay, that makes sense. So there's projects out there.
Certainly,
We
there's
just
always
need
going
to
to
get
be.
them through.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, Green Bay's the oldest community in the state of Wisconsin. We have an old housing stock, so as long as we have that, there's always going to be a need for this type of program.
And is it that the contractors have to be lead certified?
Have to be lead certified, have to be licensed, indeed. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
And then we are looking at for infrastructure and park improvements. So we are entering into our last funding year for our neighborhood investment strategy, which has been the Old North area. If you recall, a few years ago, we switched our approach to how we are spending our resources at the city. So as opposed to doing more of a scattered shot investments in spending dollars citywide, we want to make data-informed decisions and really focus our investments to make a larger impact in smaller geographic areas. And we do that for a 3-year period. So we're reaching our last year in the Old North area, and so we have identified with our Parks Department and Department of Public Works both park improvements that would be eligible for this funding, and then also some potentially some traffic calming improvements as well. So we're budgeting money for those. And then
With an emphasis on traffic calming.
With an emphasis on traffic calming. And then we are budgeting, as we do in years past, money for beautification and public arts projects. We are, since we are trying to wind down our ARPA money, the facade program is something that we historically funded through the block grant program. So we don't want to run into a situation where we've spent down our ARPA, but now we have no additional funds to continue that program. So we are budgeting money for the facade program. The Economic Development Rolling Loan Program is a tried-true staple of this program, so that's getting funded again this year, and then of course our administration. And then moving on to the 2024 home allocation. Again, here we would also fund home improvement loan program as well through this pot of money, but we are not funding it in this cycle through this allocation just because there's still that reserve of funds available mentioned. But we are increasing the amount for our housing development advancement projects, so that's our gap financing. There are a number of housing projects in the queue in the pipeline that we feel are going to need this funding, so we wanted to bolster that a bit and make sure that we can help make some of these housing projects come from plan to fruition, to reality. And then, as was mentioned earlier, we are going to be adding some money for down payment closing cost assistance as well. So we have $50,000 budgeted for that. And then, of course, Chodo set aside, and then admin costs as well, because some of our staff are funded through this program to administer these programs. So nothing huge, substantial, but just some minor tweaks. But really excited about the public service dollars that we're making available for the community. It just feels really good to make some of these smaller programs happen, even though we have for them.
And will the program income under Housing Development Advancement Project, where does the program income come
Sure.
from?
Yep, so program income comes from a couple different places. It comes from any home improvement loans that have been issued.
Okay.
So when those get paid off or there's refinancing, that comes back in as program income. Also, the Economic Development Revolving Loan Program that Wendy administers for us, that also, when that gets paid off, we get more money coming in. So that's where our program income comes from for the home unit block grant.
So what we ask the RDA is to approve this plan, forward it to city council, who makes the final approval of this plan, and then we ask that city council allows the redevelopment authority to administer the programs. So we don't have to take all of these small projects back to the full council when it comes to the RDA.
Is Brian still on?
Brian, are you still on?
Okay, I just want to make sure he keeps an eye on these numbers too. Yeah, so I just wanted to see if you
Sure.
had any feedback, if he was
Absolutely.
still up there.
So this is just a budget, right, and the actual components of the spend that come back to the RDA. This is approval of the budget.
Correct.
Just to go on the council.
Correct.
And then they bring me back the projects that spend money. So.
Any other questions from you?
I'd make the motion that we approve this with the recommendation to the city council for the Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnership Program entitlement programs.
And I'll second.
Motion by Matt, a second by Alder Hinkle. Questions or comments to the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, informational, RDA loan update, yeah, the quick match here, that's the Matt can give us details on everyone, but like, okay, great.
I don't know, this
Thank
goes
you,
back
thanks all.
to the beginning of the program.
Yes. So actually, that would be me.
Good.
So I have been bringing this to you, been closer to 2 years. I've tried to do it every year, but it just never seems to work out. But this is an overall look at what this program has done since its inception. And just, we do have foreclosures and write-offs that happen within this program, but just for a little bit of context, the Mortgage Bankers Association, they have a 5.25% overall loss ratio on theirs, whereas our foreclosures are 4.8%. And on their FHA loans, which are their federal loans, they have a 10.8% loss ratio. So those are closer to what kind of loans we have. So we do very well in making sure that we work with our people, and NeighborWorks works with us to make sure that those foreclosures are reduced as much as possible, and we try to keep people in their houses. But I wanted to get you guys a clear look of what's happening in the loan program so you can see what we've done, like business loans. We have had $4 million repaid in business loans over the inception of this, and we have about a little less than $2 million out there right now in that program. So we do help a lot of businesses as well as those residents. So these programs really do help a lot of people.
Yes.
So I just want to give you guys an update.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Have you done a lot this year?
Yeah, well, although I think this is a mix of different things, right? Because there's
Yes.
residential loans in here.
Yes.
There's also the revolving loan fund.
Yep.
Is in here, but it's actually a relatively small piece of that.
Go ahead, Debbie, say something.
What is the state rehab loan? What are those funds from?
The state rehab loan is an old.
Hey.
Remember Cheryl started that.
So I got one of those olds. It was an
did on that program when I started.
It was not old.
So it's not that old.
It was an older program that we no longer run. The state doesn't fund it anymore. It's pretty much a delinquent program, but we still have loans out there because we don't require people to pay them off. So as they get paid off, they go back into program income, but they'll sit out there on those as second mortgages a lot of times and put it off.
It's not old, Cheryl, right? It's historic.
It's
And
historic.
has bronze
It's so
plaque
old.
on it.
It's
Says
so
the
old.
year it was
I don't
founded.
remember it at all.
It could be. I started in '87, and that's what I did. I ran the Red Rehab program for the state. Back in the good old days.
It's a great update. Questions or comments? If not, thank you.
Okay.
I didn't have any questions on the financial report or check register, I don't know if anybody else did. And then, director's report.
Yeah, we sent out our tracking sheet.
Yeah.
We've been meeting with the JBS developers. We had our first meeting with them, and that's exciting. We're moving forward. They're going back to the drawing board. They're working with our consultant to figure out exactly how their sections of the JBS site for housing are going to be laid out. So moving forward on that. We've been talking with Peter Nugent, Newland, who would like to come back. That's the project across from I'm moving. Peter Nugent's on Cherry across from the Newland project. We've been working with him. And he's, I think, getting ready to come back with an ask in the development agreement. Anything on Badger Street, not that.
Well, we've been continuing to meet with General Capital Group is the developer that RDA selected for us to proceed with. So we've been meeting with them a handful of times now. We have another meeting scheduled later this week to move plans along. So hopefully we'll have something to show you before too long as far as potential site plans go.
Good.
I think Drop Forge is coming to Plan Commission moving forward. Is that correct? Or they're moving forward with their plans?
So this is in the Grandview Industrial Park on the far east side. Cleveland Hardware, Green Bay Drop Forge has a planning option on one of the city-owned parcels out that way. And they are going to Plan Commission here, I believe next week, for conditional use permits, considering on developing that site out there.
Okay. And what's the city involvement, what commitment is the city gonna have to do with that project? Getting the land or selling the land or?
Right, so they're putting their performer together now.
Okay.
So they'll come back with numbers. There might be a funding gap, there often is, there may not be one, who knows?
Right.
But if there is, then we would negotiate on the price of the land, potential tip request. So that might be coming through here if there is that funding request. If there isn't a funding request, then it wouldn't necessarily need to come through RDA. It would
Right.
just be through Plan Commission and Council.
So this is the new industrial park. It's not part of I-43, it's Grandview, right?
Correct.
And what are we selling the land for? How much are we selling the land?
Sure. So I think our standard is 40 per acre.
Okay.
Is the starting asking price.
Okay.
That could come down if they have a funding gap, and we determine that's the best way to negotiate.
Right. Okay, but 40 grand is what the asking.
And would this be east of Carnivore or west? Just east, to be adjacent to Sheriff. Okay.
Shipyard, Phase 1, we're planning a ribbon cutting, I think, for sometime later this summer.
Yeah, I just got a calendar invite, so we're looking at 1 o'clock on July 17th. We'll forward that on to you guys so you can attend.
Yeah, please.
Henry Baldwin's office is planning to hopefully attend, and it'll be a soft ribbon cutting is what we're tentatively calling it, because construction will not be done. We'll be getting closer. But we wanted to use this opportunity with her being in town. She's going to be helping us celebrate the $5 million grant we're getting from National Park Service. And we'll be having this nice little ceremony.
Okay, very nice.
Move along.
Just moving along, that's important.
Did you guys see the article that, Model for the Nation, Green Bay, and the JBS site?
Mm-hmm, yes.
That was really cool.
I don't think I saw it.
It was a really good article.
Very
Yeah, it was a really good article.
It's very Very nice.
You were going to say how well-written it was?
A couple of typos, no.
Unless I'm, 225, I'm looking at the numbers, but my computer's, okay.
Sorry.
Because it says 695 total units, and I wasn't seeing the shipyard ones on here. There we go, got it.
Merge, you mean, or?
Yes, where how does this come to 600?
So, all of the housing units, we've got that column there. So we've got 225 for shipyard, 268 for new land. Unless the spreadsheet was, unless there was an error there, that should come to 695 total units.
225, okay,
That's a
there's
spreadsheet wrong.
268. Yep, okay.
We had our best
I was
count
going
on the
past one
spreadsheet,
page,
so.
it just didn't show up.
Let's see, Veterans Village goes back to city council tonight. That's forwarded from the plan commission. And the rest of these are just like our individual builds. I did see a picture of the director of Habitat standing outside of the curb and gutter, which was installed on Reggie Lane. So we funded that street for their 14 units that they're building up there. So they're a happy picture of her. So it looks like the curb and gutters in that street, in that project. And so the updates. Am I missing anything?
Earlier, we were talking about the two industrial parks, I-43 and Grandview. Is there much land left in I-43?
Not really.
I didn't think so.
There's some vacant parcels.
Very little, they're small.
They're not large, and they might be a little bit more difficult to develop, a little bit more wet.
We're concentrating on trying to get, so we just acquired some parcels.
I was just gonna say, didn't we just approve? We added 35,000, or 3,500 acres?
35 acres.
35 acres, okay.
35,000, then.
That would be amazing.
I'm like, okay.
For the price we got them at?
Yep.
Yes.
You're right. Questions for staff or the project updates? If not, is Jeff still around? Wasn't Jeff here a second ago?
He was.
What are you doing? This is weird. Okay, so we are going to get an update from Jeff. But Leah, please, anything you'd like to tell us about what's going on?
We had a nice windy, rainy market on Thursday, our first one in the new Shopko site. So,
Okay.
or I should say, the old Shopko site, but new site for our summer market.
The weather wasn't cooperative though.
Yeah. I think it's rained every day for the
It
last several
has.
weeks.
I know.
My plants are gorgeous.
Leah, are you inside the building or all outside?
Outside.
All outside?
Yep.
And I'll imagine Brooks is she? No.
She was, but she's not anymore.
Okay, okay. I see her in the write-up, leadership being recognized. All right, anything else for staff or anything? If not, I'm sorry. If not, our next meeting is July 9th, like you mentioned earlier. Entertained motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Right,
Second?
second, Alder Kempis. All in favor, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, we are adjourned. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Excellent job.